Medieval 2 really did take characters to the next level, simply by introducing chivalry and dread. These two forever competing abilities really added an entirely new level of customization to the generals, and allowed them to be more focused. In addition, it was a fun mechanic, incredibly simple, and allowed for some very interesting starting personalities. Let's take a look. Top 5 Medieval 2 Total War starting characters. Quick disclaimer, I am of course not counting the Hordes or the Aztecs. Secondly, for Rome Total War I valued all points equally. This is not going to be the case here. Loyalty, authority and piety, for example, although important, will be kind of pushed to the side a little bit in favour of the more powerful dread and chivalry. And generals only. I won't be covering agents, as they kind of deserve their own video. Lastly, I won't factor in age, otherwise then it becomes too heavily opinion based. Let's begin. Number 5, and for this I only just went with King Philip of France, who starts off the game with overall balanced traits, but most importantly a rare 4 chivalry. Chivalry, if you do not know, not only provides a morale boost for your troops in battle, but it also provides 0.5% population growth each. So, with 4 chivalry, any settlement that Philip governs gets plus 2.5% growth. This really comes in handy with castles. Upgrade them early and get the best units before anyone else. Number 4, and we head slightly north to the English king, William the Conqueror, who similarly has a rare 4 dread. Dread, however, lowers the morale of enemy troops on the battlefield. And that is all. Despite the extra advantage provided by chivalry, I and most other players value Dread more, so for that reason alone, he is higher than Philip. In addition to this though, William also gets the trait Conquering Hero, which improves public order by plus 15% wherever he is. A very good starting character, just a shame he's probably going to drop dead after a few turns. Number 3, Alexius of Byzantium, faction leader, 8 command, the highest command by far in the entire game, so he certainly did deserve a spot on this list. However, the only reason he did not rank higher was due to him lacking in other areas, especially chivalry and dread, which is just a plain 0. He was really difficult to judge due to extreme strengths and weaknesses, but I knew he deserved a spot, so I went safe and put him in the middle of the list. I need to address some honourable mentions, I think. 2, both of which came very close to getting 5th place. The Scottish King Malcolm, whose stats are only just lacking behind Philip's. That being said though, he has the trait Skilled Bureaucrat, which adds a plus 10% bonus to law, lowering corruption and adding 10% public order to the settlement. Although overall that's just not enough. Second honourable mention goes to Yezvalod, Vsevolod, the Russian faction leader, who has the traits Social Drinker and Energetic, boosting the settlement that he governs by plus 5% public order, and army movement range by plus 15%, which is incredibly valuable, especially for Russia. On top of that, 6th command is great to see. However, and this is why I gave the disclaimer at the start, 2 dread versus 4 chivalry is the main focus. So despite him being better in every other way, and dread been better than Chivalry. Those 2 extra points there did push Philip of France onto the list instead, at least for me. Back to the real list though, and we have 2 really good ones here. Number 2, and we are heading back to France, the faction heir, this time Prince Louis. He has very similar stats to William, yet also carries with him that +1 command, which makes him an even better fighter on the battlefield, even if only slight. There's not a that big difference here, and I was really debating heavily who should go in 4th, 3rd and 2nd, but I thought this here would be the best. However, feel free to disagree. Issue is, there's so many really good characters at the start of the game who are very similar. And this is much harder to judge than it was in Rome Total War, due to the characters being more unique to one another. So opinion certainly plays a part. But for now, number 1, the greatest character in the game at the start, and there was no doubt for this one. As soon as I saw him, I knew he had won. Faction leader of Poland, Władysław. 4 command, quite good. 4 authority, quite good. 3 piety, okay. But 7 chivalry at the start of the game. No one comes close to it. No one can compete with that in the early game. This is an incredible number. 2nd highest chivalry in the game is 4, shared by a few characters, but this guy gets 7. That is an extra 3.5% growth to any settlement he is in, which is usually enough to double the growth. Put him in a basic castle or Montembele and it will be a fortress by the time he has died. It really is a good amount of chivalry, and very valuable as well. But that is all. As said with the last one, 500 likes and I'll cover it for another title. So how about this? 600 likes. If it gets that much support and demand, I will cover it one more time, but for Rome Total War's Barbarian Invasion, which probably has some of the most unique and comical characters in the history of all of Total War. That being said though, I do hope you enjoyed this one. Please feel free to subscribe and share the video with anyone else you think may also be interested. I have been MELKOR, hope you enjoyed, hope you learned something, but for now, goodbye.